I'd like to start the today speech with congratulating Andy. It's his birthday today. I'm sure you all join me in congratulating him. So, best wishes and thanks for moderating today. Answering your question, and what it comes from already the discussion today, it's true that we have so many priorities at once. And it's true we have no other chance but to do something regarding all, regarding all these issues. And we're already making the first steps, and we're already seeing some first results. It's very unfortunate that, but it's a reality. We got some inheritance from 2012, from 2013. VAT is always a problem. Overpayments on the corporate profit tax is also a problem. You remember, like every time we're having meetings in Kiev, I try now to raise these questions just myself, not to wait for the questions from the audience, because, they will be there, the questions will be there. And one of the first good steps that we already made, very important, very strategic step, is, for example, introduction from the 1st of July of the electronic administration of the VAT. First of all, it will help us fight the very big VAT fraud problem that we had in Ukraine for years. Yeah? And it was very difficult to put the system in place. We see huge resistance. Even now there is a resistance to put system back in test mode or cancel it, but it works. It works actually quite well. And it will not only help us fight, we had around, or a minimum of probably $100 million of gray or black VAT a month. So we will fight that. But apart from that, it will also help us to take away all the associated problems that we had, take away all the unnecessary tax checks that we had to do on a number of companies, cross checks, etc., etc., etc. And that will be a real simplification to the business. To the good business, to the white, clean business, the good thing will be, everyone will be equal. It will be not an opportunity for, bad or gray companies to use, fraud VAT and not to pay the actual tax, and then, being different in terms of competition on the market. So we're doing all that. I've started just 2 months ago, but there was quite a lot of work done in advance. I was previously in the committee, in the Parliament Committee for the Tax and Custom Policy, and together with the Ministry of Finance, together with IMF, we developed quite a detailed action plan. Normally, IMF was saying that should be, a 3 or 4 year plan, but we realized that, we don't have anymore so much time in place, and we had to do it much quicker. So we tried to fit everything in around a 1.5 year plan. We're doing the restructure of the state fiscal service itself, because as many people present here who already done business in Ukraine, they know there were different stages. There was a so-called merger several years ago into the ministry, and then, and then it's kind of changed the name into the State Fiscal Service. But previously, the merger was only done on the top level of the minister, and now we're doing the real full integration, which will help us a lot to run the service much more efficient, to combine risk departments, to combine audit departments, to combine IT services and everything else. We're trying to achieve a significant reduction in number of people, and especially those people that we think, need to leave anyway. We're trying to upgrade in terms of human potential the state fiscal service, and I think we are on the right track there. Some of the changes and where we go already. We're trying to simplify the way of tax declarations. A lot of the changes that we have to do, they will be combined in the tax reform that Ministry of Finance is working on right now. But in the meantime, we're modernizing the State Fiscal Service, so it's a simultaneous. So from the 1st of January of 2016, when most of these changes will come in place, the State Fiscal Service is ready to administer these changes. We simplifying, we're working now on simplifying even the VAT and profit declaration. So it's a much simpler process. We're moving a lot in electronization or digitalization of the services. I mentioned just now, the electronic VAT administration service, but we're trying to do the same for the excise. We're trying to launch electronic excise mark this year. In July, we'll already have the first pilot project, and then electronic invoices to come after that. That all as a single system will help to simplify the process, and it will help to make sure that we don't leave the opportunities for the great businesses to manipulate around. We moving ahead, sometimes it's not an obligation, but this is our task and our desire to harmonize the Ukrainian legislation with the European. Certain of the steps, they are necessary steps, but other steps we feel like we need to take the best practices. We need to learn on how the process was done in Europe and move in the same way. We're trying to really change the perception that, SFS is not an inspection, is a service provider. It will not happen immediately, and it's a difficult route, it's a difficult path, but we already see the support of real good business in helping us on this difficult path. We want to make sure that, I mentioned already today, yes, we do have inheritance, and we had problems before in the country of unequal, for example, tax refund regarding the VAT. Now the system is much more clean, it's much more transparent. Around two-thirds, and soon I believe it will be three-quarters will be refunded in the automated regime. And with the new electronic VAT administration, we will aim towards 2016 to refund most of our VAT in the automatic regime. We understand the debts that we have, we need to solve it. We already, together with the Ministry of Finance, put a bill in the Parliament. I took an obligation to collect more VAT from the shadowing economy and to increase the amount of VAT which is set in the budget by 20% for 2015 to be able to refund much more money than there was initially budgeted. We're moving along really, modernizing Ukrainian tax and custom administration to the, European or international levels. We're trying to use the very best practices. We're trying to electronize as much as possible all the services, taking away that human factor, taking away, the corruption which did exist and still does in some cases. There is there is zero tolerance to corruption. We removed all, unfortunately, again, they existed in the past, we removed all, let's say, schemes which were, there is a Ukrainian word to describe that, but which were kind of governed by the management of the state fiscal service in the past. So all that goes away, and we're very, very clean and very transparent with the businesses. We try and, I will probably repeat myself, but this is very important. We're really trying to make a big shift from inspection to the service provider and make sure that taxpayers who come to us, they get a service, not, that they're scared to come towards us.
On that note, I'm just conscious of time. I think if we can move on to the National Bank. And I think we have time.
Can I say a couple quick words?
Okay.
Yeah. Just finishing what we're doing right now. We will use a lot of global and international experience, and we will be actually encouraging the companies, the international tax administrations, the IMF, and other international organizations, not only, let's say, to help us theoretically, but practically advise on what services, what particulars are necessary, what is the global trend, which way, not only Ukraine, but which way is US moving, which way is Germany moving, France, UK, and other European countries. I wanted to I wanted to talk more about, just briefly, to talk about customs. Customs being always an issue, same way as a tax office, but probably more, unfortunately, corrupt in Ukraine. Now we already changed around 60% of the management within the customs. We will finalize this process in the next 2 or 3 months. We're trying to launch the new HR system, and it's not just an electronic system, it's a system which will allow us, hopefully in the next couple of years, to significantly refresh people who work in the SFS. I think we'll try to achieve totally new approach of the hiring and totally new approach of the people, who work in the organization. I understand we're very conscious on time, so I'll try to finish, and I'll try to just ensure everyone who already works in Ukraine, to ensure everyone who is considering to come into Ukraine, that State Fiscal Authority, State Fiscal Service of Ukraine will be your partner, and you can rely on us. Thanks very much.